My recap of Dexter Season 4, Episode 7, entitled Slack Tide. In this episode, Dexter really has to become a father to try and blend in, and makes a terrible mistake. We also find out that Deborah gets closer to finding out what his father was really doing with Dexter's mother. So let's get this recap started here. Lots of little story threads in this particular episode, but there are some major themes. So let's talk about this, again, as usual, let's talk about the smaller stuff first. First off, we have the relationship with Batista and with LaGuerta. In this episode, you can see that they still love each other. They want to be together, but they kind of can't do it. And people in the office are starting to notice that their body language says there's something going on between them, but they're going to have to start cooling it off. And the last part of their story in this episode is LaGuerta's getting on the elevator and Batista's looking at her, and they just have affection towards each other. We also have Deborah moving into Dexter's old apartment, so he gets to keep it in the family. And she is going after, she's still looking for the Trinity killer and finishing Lundy's work. We also have the reporter that Quinn's been sleeping with who's trying to get information from Deborah and wants to get her story from being shot. Dexter kind of protects her and tells Quinn, hey, I remember you taking the money in exchange for me not saying anything. You basically get that reporter to back off. We also have a body that was found at the beginning of this episode in an alligator, and this is where we start off Dexter's tragic story. We do find out during the episode that we have Deborah getting closer to finding out she's looking for who slept with her father, and come to find out he slept with many of his CIs, and this really upsets Deborah and gets her and Dexter to see that he wasn't the perfect individual. Well, that leads to Dexter having his imperfect moment in this episode. We have Dexter who is trying to get closer with the family and actually meets up with the Trinity killer at the beginning saying, I don't have any family here. He's going by the name Kyle Butler and tells the Trinity killer, I don't know anybody. I could really use a friend. That's when the Trinity killer tells him, John Lithgow, I'll just say John Lithgow's character in this, says, meet me at my house in the morning at 6 a.m. So they do, and he takes them out to cut down wood out in the middle of nowhere. And on the way back, they hit a deer. And Dexter tries to get John Lithgow to kill the deer because it's suffering and in pain, and in the end, Dexter has to do it. Really hoping he would bring out the killer inside and see that side of Trinity, but he didn't. So moving forward, when Dexter gets back, we find out that there's this body that was found in a crocodile. And this body, it's just an arm. And they find out that this arm belongs to basically an immigrant who was visiting, and not really an immigrant, just somebody from another country visiting who was having her picture taken by this photographer. A lot of women who go to his studio end up disappearing, so they're looking for ways to catch him. Dexter figures, this will be the guy that I'm going to kill. This will be the next guy. His dad tells him, no, you've got bigger fish to fry. You really need to go after Trinity. But Dexter says, no, I'm going to kind of do things my way. So he tries to get close to this guy, and he follows him. Dexter follows him into this club, and Quinn shows up as well and sees Dexter, so Dexter has to call off the kill. Decides to go back a couple days later. He's getting ready to go get him one night, and that's when his wife Rita tells him, you signed up to take the kids camping this weekend. And Dexter's like, oh boy, this is not a good weekend for me to do this. But he agrees to and uses the excuse of going out to get, stuff for the camping trip as the, as a cover to go do the kill. And that's when he ran into Quinn at the club. So Dexter says, well, I won't get to kill him, but at least I'll be able to spend time with Cody over the weekend. So he takes him on the camping trip. That night, they're telling scary stories around the fire. Dexter tells a really awkward one, and everyone goes to sleep, and Dexter takes that opportunity to slip away from camp and go do the kill so he can get back before the morning, before they go back. So he does end up killing the photographer, and what's crazy is at the very end of the episode, when he gets back, he's got this internal monologue going, telling the camera what he's thinking, and he's like, everything just seems to line up, that people in this position, we all just kind of figure our way through, and those are the people who will succeed. And when he gets back into the police department, they're bringing in not the photographer, but the photographer's assistant. Come to find out, they have DNA and video evidence that proves that his assistant actually did the killings, not the photographer. And that's when Dexter kind of slumps down and puts his head between his knees in his lab, and he can't believe he just killed an innocent person. And that's how this episode ends. So I'll have the next episode up within the next couple of days. I do appreciate everybody who's watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You will be notified as I have new recaps go up.